First on our audio tour is one of Vincent Price's childhood homes. Vincent's first house was on Washington Boulevard, but he moved here when he was just 12 years old. Next is the National Candy Company, built by Vincent's father in 1928. The building is significant for its Art Deco flourishes. Here at the fabulous Fox Theater on Grand Boulevard, Mr. Price's first film, Universal Pictures' Service Deluxe, premiered in 1938. The film co-starred Constance Bennett. We hope you've enjoyed this audio tour of Vincent Price's St. Louis.
Welcome to my dream come true. I'm so thankful to Cliff and to Tom for thinking of inviting me here. Vincentennial, I think, is a tremendous event. I'm very honored to be here. I had the good fortune to meet Vincent Price in 1975 when he was doing Ken Lee Player's production of Damn Yankees in Dayton, Ohio. My friend Brian Gordon, who went on to become the director of the San Francisco Film Festival, drove with me up to meet Vincent. And we were able to spend half an hour with him in his dressing room. I remember I took along with me a copy of Calvin Beck's book, Heroes of the Horrors, which had chapters devoted to Lon Chaney, Sr. and Jr., Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, Peter Lorre, and Vincent Price. And I asked Mr. Price if he would be so kind as to sign my book. And he was flipping through it. And he said, "Is this one of the best books on this type of film?" And I said, "Well, it's certainly one of them. I mostly wanted you to sign this because you're the only one of these gentlemen who's still around." I was like 18 years old. I didn't have much polish. And he looked at me wryly and he laughed and he said, "Well, it's not the best reason you could give me to sign your damn book." And he inscribed it to me, "To Tim, from someone who is still around, me for some time." He managed to hang on for another 22 years, and as we see, he's still with us on his centennial. So I'm happy to be here with you to honor him this evening. Before I introduce our special guest, I want to note the presence with us this evening of a VIP. She was the producer of some of New World Pictures and New Concord's most exciting films, including Jonathan Demme's Crazy Mama, Louis Teague's The Lady in Red, which I think is the best film that New World ever produced. And she's also behind the recent cult classic, Sharktopus. Julie Corman. Okay, now to introduce our special guest. How can I start? Well, first of all, I'll say it's a remarkable coincidence that on Judgment Day, we have the privilege of a private audience with the director of The Day the World Ended, The Last Woman on Earth, and Gas, or Why It Was Necessary to Destroy the Earth in Order to Save it. I was able to start going to movies by myself at a very early age. My mother just trusted me to go. And it actually was impressed upon me long before I read books about film that the director's role must be very important because the director's name was always the last to appear on the screen before it faded into the story that was about to be told. And I swear, 9 times out of 10, that name was Roger Corman in my film-going experience. He made, by my count, 8 films with Vincent Price, including The House of Usher, Pit and the Pendulum, Tales of Terror, The Raven, The Mask of the Red Death, and the film we're showing this evening, Tomb of Ligeia. I recently saw a documentary series on AMC about the early days of film and the movie moguls that got the whole movie-going experience started. And I have to say that after looking at what happened in the careers of men like Adolf Zukor and Carl Laemmle and Louis B. Mayer, that I don't think any of them have had as lasting an impression on the motion picture as Roger. Because of Roger Corman coming along in the mid-1950s, movies suddenly became very youth-oriented, very exploitation-oriented, and very new. And I think that they contributed a great deal to what we understand as our sense of the now. And it's very interesting that in his films, he often painted stories of the end of an old guard and the beginning of a new guard. So he's a very progressive filmmaker. And I just don't want to stand here and talk about him. I want to get into the Q&A. So please welcome my hero, Roger Corman.